Republican Senator of Arkansas, Tom Cotton. What do you make about these documents that were put forward here by Chris Ruffo?
Well, it's worrisome, Rachel. I'm going to try to get to the bottom to see if our brass and the civilian leaders in the Pentagon are actually going to force our troops to read this racist nonsense. Critical race theory is the false and the odious theory that America is fundamentally racist to its core. That concepts like the rule of law and equality under the law enshrined in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution are somehow just a sham for our racist nation. Nothing could be farther from the truth, and we should not teach our young troops this kind of nonsense. That's why my legislation would prohibit it from being part of any formal training curriculum, prohibit universities, the service academies from teaching it, and prohibit it from being forced upon our troops in any ways.
Have you seen any support from the other side of the aisle for your legislation?
Let's just say that they don't like to get within 10 feet of this controversy because so much of the left-wing activism is about open racist discrimination, about forcing or about saying that, you know, we have to have discrimination on the basis of race in this country to have equality. It's a pretty Orwellian theory. But I'm going to offer it in a couple months when we get to writing our annual defense bill, and we'll have a vote on it, and we'll see what the Democrats think about it. Whether or not we should be teaching our troops to respect the Constitution and the Declaration and to fight side by side with each other as comrades in arms, willing to lay down their lives, not just for our country, but for each other, irrespective of race. That's the way it was when I was in the Army. That's the way it should be for our troops today.
Yeah, well, you wrote an excellent piece in National Review. I'm going to put up a quote from here. We need to teach our young troops, as it was taught by sergeants and officers of many different races, to befriend, fight alongside, and if necessary, die for their comrades on the battlefield, not to obsess about skin color. Likewise, we need to teach them to revere the Constitution that they swore to protect and to defend, not to believe it's part of a multi-generational racist conspiracy. Your bill actually calls for not allowing the military to segregate our troops by race. I just can't even believe that that's necessary to put in a bill. Is that happening?
I hope it's not happening, Rachel, but anywhere you see critical race theory go on campuses or in woke corporations, you see that kind of segregation following, oftentimes not very far behind. But it's not something that we should ever permit in our military. Again, our military is the most important institution in our society. If some corporation wants to go bankrupt because they're obsessing about race, or some college is indoctrinating its students, that's not a good thing. But those institutions aren't dedicated to keeping the United States free and independent from our enemies.
It's just really hard for me to believe that generals would go for this, because why would you die for a country that you think is systemically racist? Why would you die for a comrade, you know, your fellow soldier that you think might be racist? It's just, it doesn't make sense to me why they're not trying to just bring us together as Americans and stop this division.
Well, it's a pretty good question, Rachel. I have to say that all of our generals are great Americans. They're patriotic. They've served their country. They know a lot about training. Many of them, not all of them, but many of them know a lot about winning wars. But when it comes to history and politics, too often our generals just reflect the kind of left-wing fads and fashions that you see in America's universities, or that they got when they were a fellow at the Council on Foreign Relations as a young major.
Yeah, you see a lot of young people coming in. They're probably already indoctrinated in high school and then college, and then they go to West Point and they're getting more of this instead of learning a different way to love America. So listen, I think it's really important that we keep talking about this, Senator. I'm so proud of your bill. I think it's going to make a difference to get it out there, and I hope you do put it into the defense budget as part of that, and maybe we'll see some change. So thanks for joining me tonight, Senator. Really appreciate it.
Thank you, Rachel.
All right.